1 year ago today, my predecessor, Minister Anand, presented a report to Parliament in which she agreed to implement all 48 of Madam Arbour's recommendations. And as we promised at that time, we will keep Canadians up to date on our progress to build meaningful cultural change in our country's military. And today I'd like to provide you with an update on the progress that we have made before the year is through. By the end of the calendar year, we will expect to have implemented fully 19 of the recommendations from Madam Arbour's report. These recommendations are broad in scope, from how we address sexual offences in our military to supporting affected members, to empowering other external voices to conduct deeper reviews into our cultural change efforts, including at our Canadian military institutions. We are making real progress, but we must keep going. Today, I can announce that we are implementing the first two recommendations in Madam Arbour's report, which call for the removal of the term sexual misconduct from our official policies and the use of sexual assault as a standalone item. Madam Arbour found that this definition of sexual misconduct lacked coherence and clarity, and that we should be more effective in our efforts to eliminate these behaviours by more clearly defining them. Going forward, we are abolishing the term sexual misconduct, and we will ensure sexual assault as a standalone item in CAF policy with language in line with the Criminal Code of Canada, which defines sexual assault as intentional, non-consensual touching. The changes to the policy will be officially published in early 2024. We believe that by providing a clear definition of sexual assault in line with the Criminal Code, we will be better positioned to act when incidents occur and to respond in a more trauma-informed way. This definition will also shape our efforts going forward and improve clarity and certainty regarding prohibited conduct. As I noted earlier, these are just 2 of the 19 recommendations we have already implemented by the calendar year. We've also implemented Madam Arbour's 7th and 9th recommendations enabling CAF members to bring sexual harassment and discrimination complaints directly to the Canadian Human Rights Commission. We've moved forward on recommendations 12, 13, 15 and 16 by renaming and reforming the Sexual Misconduct Support and Resource Centre. For her 32nd recommendation, which provides me with assistance in providing approval of general officers and flag officers, and of course the appointment of an external monitor over a year ago. As I've said, we have much more work to do, and we plan on implementing legislation on recommendation 5 early in the next year. I'm also pleased today to make an announcement that I think is a very important one, that today I have had the privilege of appointing Michelle Douglas as the first honorary colonel for Chief Professional Conduct and Culture. Ms. Douglas is a remarkable Canadian. She's a Carleton University graduate, she's a veteran, she's a retired public servant, and she was a survivor of the LGBT purge, the Canadian government's systemic campaign of oppression against employees who were members of, or suspected members of the LGBTQ2 communities from the 1950s to the early 1990s. Ms. Douglas served as an officer in the Canadian Armed Forces from 1986 to 1989, when she was discharged despite a distinguished service record simply because of her sexuality. And despite the shameful treatment, she went on to have an impressive career in the public service for 3 decades. She now serves as an executive director of the LGBT Church Fund, standing up for those who were affected. I am very grateful for Ms. Douglas for her courage, for agreeing to serve in this critically vital role, and for the example of courage and determination that she presents to all Canadians as well as members of the Canadian Armed Forces. As we approach the end of 2023, I also want to make clear that although we have made progress, there is much work left to be done, and by implementing Madam Arbour's recommendations, we are building a more inclusive work environment for those who keep us safe. We are building a military where all of the people can reach their full potential, where young, diverse Canadians can feel respected, protected, and empowered to serve. We will not ease up on these efforts. We will keep moving forward. Thank you, merci.